I love classics, and finally somebody has created a classics book tag, so of course I had to do it. Hi guys, it's Samantha and I am back today with an exciting tag video. Vienna from It's a Book World, she has a blog that I will link down below, has created a really awesome, wonderful, fantastic tag. It is a classics book tag. I really like classic books, and as she said in her blog, it's true, as far as I'm aware, there isn't a classics book tag on Booktube, so this book tag is related to classics and classic books, everything, and it is fantastic and I cannot wait to do it. So let us get started on these questions. Question number 1 is an overhyped classic that you really didn't like. For this, I'm going with The Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I read this back in high school when I was a freshman, I think. I just really wasn't a fan of it. I know something that high schools make you read a lot, and I know a lot of people like it, but I just was not a fan of the book. I thought it was a little bit dull. I didn't like any of the characters. That's really all I remember from it. I don't remember much more of the plot than that. I just was not a fan of the book or any of the movies, to be honest. The movies I've seen, I haven't really been a huge fan of. Question number 2 is your favorite time period to read about. I have 2 for this one. I really enjoy reading books from the medieval time period, so Beowulf, Le Morte d'Arthur, the Canterbury Tales, any of the books from this time period I really find fascinating, particularly because they were written during that time period, and to be able to have a picture of what that period looked like by the author is fantastic. I mean, this is somebody that lived it, who lived during this time period and experienced these things that are so long ago for us now, and I find that to be really, really fascinating. My second favorite time period to read about, the Regency Era, which is a time period that Jane Austen wrote in. I really, really like this time period. I loved the fashions, to be honest. I much prefer the fashions from this era than I do the later fashions from the Victorian era. I not a fan of hoop skirts and big bulky dresses. But aside from that, I just find the time period fascinating. I particularly love Jane Austen's stuff just because it's such a satirical take on the time period. I just find it really interesting. Question number 4 is, what is the most embarrassing classic you haven't read yet? I have not read The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. It just hasn't happened yet. I want to at some point. I'm not sure how I'll feel about it, but it's still one that I have not read. I also have not read Wuthering Heights, but I do own it and I'm going to be reading it this year. I was hoping to do it this month, but I don't think it's going to happen. I did not have time. Question number 3 is your favorite fairy tale. So I'm going to be honest, but I have not actually read any of the original fairy tales. Well, I have read The Velveteen Rabbit, but I don't know if you really consider that. But I'm going to show this bad boy, which is Fairy Tales from Around the World by Andrew Lang, another one of my favorite editions. I haven't read it yet, but I really want to because I think it would be fascinating to read, you know, not only the original fairy tales, but also fairy tales I've never heard about that take place in other parts of the world. So this is something I really want to get on at some point. Question number 5 is the top 5 classics that you would like to read soon. So I actually have a lot of classics that I would like to read this year. So I chose just 5 of the ones that I own right now. So the first one that I want to show you guys, whoa. So the first one I want to show you guys is The Five Children in It by E. Nesbit. This is also one of my favorite editions, a drop cap edition. The Five Children in It is a classic fairy tale for children. It is a good story from what I hear. I don't know too much else about it except for there is this fairy-like creature that comes to the children and adventure ensues. That was a horrible, horrible summation of this book, I am certain, but that is all I know about it so far. The next book that I really, really want to get is The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. I have, of course, seen the movies based on this book, but I've always wanted to read it, and I just think it'll be a really, really great adventure story. Yeah, I'm excited to read it. It's definitely a chunker, but from what I've heard from people who have read it, they said it's really good, so I'm excited to experience it for myself. The next book on this list is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I've been wanting to read this one forever. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte is one of my favorite classic books, so I'm excited to read this one. It's surprisingly short. I was not expecting it to be that short until I actually got the physical copy. So I was hoping to read this one this month. I don't know if it's going to happen, probably not, but I'm excited to pick it up at some point. Next book is The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. I read Wilkie Collins' The Woman in White and absolutely loved it. He is a great Victorian mystery writer. I'm really, really excited to read The Moonstone. I heard it's even better than The Woman in White. It also includes a locked room mystery, so I'm excited to read it. I haven't read too many mystery novels, and I think it would just be fun to read a Victorian mystery novel again, so excited to read this one as well. And the last one on the list is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I still can't believe I have not read Frankenstein yet. That is a crime and it needs to be rectified, and hopefully it will be rectified sometime this year. Question number 6 is your favorite modern book series based on a classic. I don't have too many book series that I've read that apply to this question except for one, and that's going to be the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I think this is one of the modern retellings I have read of based upon a classic, a contemporary retelling based on a classic. I really enjoyed the series. I still need to read Cress. I think it's a fun series. It's not the best I've read, but I still really enjoy her take on it. I'm also realizing now that I'm not holding up the first book. I'm in fact holding up the second book, but that's okay because it's actually my favorite of the series that I've read so far, so we're just gonna go with it. Next up is number 7, your favorite movie version TV series based on a classic. For this, I am choosing the Colin Firth version of Pride and Prejudice. It's my favorite version of Pride and Prejudice. Colin Firth as Darcy is perfect. I love that version so much. My second one is going to be Sense and Sensibility with Emma Thompson and Kate Winslet and Alan Rickman. It's a really good version as well. A little bit different from the book, but still just as good, and I enjoy all of the actors and actresses in it. And third is going to be Merlin the TV Series by the BBC. I love it. It's based upon the Arthurian legends, and it's fantastic. I love that show. I'm obsessed with it. 5 seasons was not enough. I am still sad that there is no more, but that series is amazing. If you guys have not checked out Merlin, you guys need to. The first season might seem a little bit cheesy, but I assure you the series gets better. The writing is fantastic, particularly the last season. Amazing and heart-wrenching at the same time. Question number 8 is worst classic to movie adaptation. I'm going to agree with Vienna on this one and say Jane Eyre, particularly the newest one that was released in theaters. And I thought it was a horrible version of that book. It was awful. It was boring. It just, I don't know. None of the actors fit the characters for me. Did not enjoy it. Thought it was just awful. Also, another one I'm just thinking of right now is the animated versions of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Awful. Oh my god, it is so bad. So bad. It's horrible. You can look up clips on YouTube if you don't believe me. Just go and look them up. It is seriously the worst version of The Lord of the Rings I have ever seen. Although I think it's also the only other one aside from Peter Jackson's movies, so I guess it's no contest, but still, just, oh, it's disgusting. Number 9 is your favorite editions you like to collect more classics from. I have several. As you can tell from the ones I just showed you, I have a lot I want to collect. It's hard to choose sometimes, so kind of I'll just look at the one book in the various editions and try and find some that I like. So I'll show you some of my favorites right now. My first favorite edition to collect classics from is going to be the Penguin English Library editions. I love these editions. They're paperback. The texture of the book just feels really nice, and I like most of the designs. I also like how the spines look when you line them up. I don't know. They just look kind of cool. And I don't know. There's just something about them. They smell delicious, first of all. They just feel really good. I don't know. I just like them. The second one I like to collect are the Penguin Drop Caps editions. These are hardback. They're very colorful. They feature, there's one for each letter in the alphabet. So there's 26 of these. These are U and N, obviously. And I don't know, the pages are colored. I know some people don't like these at all because they feel like they're cheap and they just, I don't know, for whatever reason don't like them. Personally, I enjoy them. Not all of them, so I don't want to get all of them, just the covers that I like. I really enjoy these two. Teal and purple are 2 of my favorite colors, so of course I had to get these. The next one that I've really been enjoying, and they're surprisingly affordable, are the Canterbury Classics Word Cloud edition. I have 3 so far, but I want to collect more because I really like these editions. I have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas, and Little Woman by Louisa May Alcott. They're not even paperback. They're like faux leather flexi-bound covers that I really like, and the pages are really nice. And inside, they all have a certain design. This is The Three Musketeers, and then in Frankenstein, there is, of course, Frankenstein's monster. And then Louisa May Alcott's Little Woman has silhouettes of women. And I don't know, they're just really nice, and I think they're really pretty. And the lettering on the front, there's quotes from the book, and usually the title is kind of iridescent, so you can see with Little Woman and then the Three Musketeers. And even the spines look nice. So I definitely want to collect more from these editions because they're just really pretty. The last editions I really like, and they're always constantly rotating and coming out with new ones, are the Barnes & Noble leather-bound classics. These, I have Great Expectations and Fairy Tales from Around the World. They're usually really nicely done. They're hardbound. They have really fancy detailing on them, and they usually come with built-in bookmarks. They're just really nice and well done. I could spend a lot of money buying classic books because there's so many gorgeous editions out there. And finally, number 10 is an underhyped classic you'd recommend to everyone. I have 2 that I would like to mention. The first one is The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. This is a fantastic Victorian mystery novel. Nobody ever talks about it. It was really intriguing and really well well written and I really highly enjoyed it, but you never hear about it. So I recommend you check it out, particularly if you're wanting to read more classics. Wilkie Collins is a fairly easy classic author to read and just really entertaining mysteries involved. The next book that I want to talk about is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. This is one of my all-time favorite classic books, but you never hear anybody talk about this one when you hear about Dickens. You usually hear people referencing Oliver Twist or David Copperfield or Tale of Two Cities, some of his more popular works. But Great Expectations to me is really, really good, and I feel everybody should read it because it is such an amazing book with such an amazing ending. Alright guys, that was the Classics book tag. Thank you, Vienna, so much for tagging me in this. This tag is awesome and I cannot wait to share it with everyone. So as for who I'm going to be tagging, I'm going to be tagging Sabrina from Steakachino, Emily from Emily Jean, Beyond the Pages, Books for MKs. Anybody else who reads classics, loves this tag, I think you should do it. We need to get this tag out there because it is fantastic. I loved it and the questions are awesome. Alright guys, that was my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it and seeing my answers. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, happy reading. Bye!